Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new and stopping by for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. If you love all things Dollar Tree and all things crafty and definitely all things on a budget, then you have definitely come to the right place. And I would love it if you would become part of this crafty family by clicking the red subscribe button and then tapping the bell and all to be notified every single time I upload. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay guys, so to start off, we're going to start off with the base of the Christmas tree, and I just take some Jenga blocks and lay them out before I glue them. And here I have 4 rows of 6, and I'll leave that down in the description box. I then take my Aleene's tacky glue and just do 1 row at a time, and I just put the glue along the edge, I set it down, and I go all the way down the row, and then once I do a row, then I straighten it out really nicely. As soon as I get done gluing each row, I then take the rows and glue them together. It's just easier to do it this way. And I'm just going to let you guys know ahead of time, I kind of go back and forth between DIYs. While one thing's drying, I work on another component of the next. So just follow with me and it'll all make sense in the end. So here I have the base to my Christmas tree. Next, I'm going to take the base of my star, and this is one of those signs. I think this said thankful, and it had the buffalo check around the edges. I'm just repurposing this from another DIY that I had taken apart, and I just measure and then cut. I'll leave the measurements down below. Now, this was tricky to cut. The best way I found possible was just to take my knife and just kind of stick it in and wiggle it and then pull it out and do the next edge. But you can see what I did right there. Next, I just take the end off of it to make a complete base pretty much. I then go in with my hot glue and I glue that down. Now you're gonna see here that there are gaps left, and I just go ahead and take some spackle from Dollar Tree. It's fast drying spackle, and I just go in and fill those cracks. It says on here that it's paint ready in minutes, and it definitely works really good. It's easy to work with, and it's only $1, so I definitely recommend this product because it filled the gaps in really nicely, and once it's all said and done, you can't even tell that I had cut this and added the end onto it. So I just continue. You don't need a special tool. I just used my finger, and I just worked the spackle right into those grooves to make it look like it was supposed to be like that. So I then take a Dollar Tree wooden star, I take the tag off, and I take out my Waverly chalk paint, and I just give that a really good coat on the smaller base, and then I go ahead and give the star a really good coat. Now this step with the star is optional. We're going to be adding fabric, and the buffalo check fabric that I have is see-through kind of, and I would rather the white to show through than the wood, but again, this step is totally up to you, and I do paint the sides as well. So I then go ahead in with my white, and while I was doing the other base and the star, this had dried, so I just give this a really nice coat of white as well. Next, we're going to take our fabric and just measure it out. I just put a cut on the top and a cut on the side, and then that way I can take it off and cut it down to size because this was a really big piece of fabric. So I just go ahead and cut that. And then next I am just going to lay it over. I made sure that it was going to fit before I started gluing. So I just take my Modge Podge brush and my matte Modge Podge. You can use glossy Modge Podge. It's up to you. I like the matte. And they do have it at Dollar Tree. This is a Dollar Tree bottle, so I just wanted to mention that. I just give this a really, really generous amount of Modge Podge, focusing on the edges, and then I just lay my fabric down and I smooth it out. Now, I didn't have any issues with wrinkling. My fabric wasn't wrinkly to begin with, but some people have issues with wrinkling, but I didn't seem to have that problem. I then go in with another coat of Modge Podge on top, and this is just going to really seal it in and make sure you have a really nice hold. This is optional as well, but I like to do it just so that way I know that the life of this is going to last a really, really long time. So I just had a glob come out. I just put it on a piece of fabric that I know is going to get cut off anyway. And I just continue to Modge Podge my fabric. So while my star is drying, I am going to measure out my large stir sticks. If I had rulers, wooden rulers from Dollar Tree, that's what I would have used, but I had these on hand. I keep a stash of them because I like to do all kinds of stuff with them. So you can use whatever you want. If you use large stir sticks, you're going to have to get 2 packs, but I just measure them out and cut them. I will leave all the measurements down in the description box per usual. So I cut an extra little piece off because this star has that raised part, and I knew that it wouldn't sit flush with my stir stick. So I just take a combination of hot glue and E6000 and I glue that little piece on. That way when we go to glue it to the main stir stick, then it lays flat and it doesn't like topple to one side, if that makes sense. But I just go ahead and give my stir sticks a really nice coat of white Waverly chalk paint. And then I, with the same brush, if you guys have been here for a while, you know I'm a lazy painter. But I just take some black on the edge of my brush to the base for the star, and I just go around the edges and kind of do like a pull down motion. I just like the effect that it gives it, and it kind of makes it look distressed without having to sand. So I'm sure you guys know, but this is called dry brushing, and I just really love the effect that it gives it, and it makes it look rustic and old. So next I am going to take 80 grit sandpaper and just sand down all the edges of my stir sticks. Next I take my Dollar Tree stencil, and I also have another stencil that I had got from Walmart, and I'm going to stencil on "We wish you a Merry Christmas," doing "we" at the top, "wish" on the next one, "you a" on the next one, "Merry" on the next one, and "Christmas" on the last one. And you guys, I'm so dumb. I meant to do green for the "we" and red for, you know, alternating colors, and I don't know why I grabbed the black, but it is what it is now. You guys could do this any color you like. You can change it up to suit your decor, and that's, like I always say, that's the beauty of DIY. I'm just here to give you inspiration, and you can do your projects how you want, change it up, change the colors. Again, it's totally up to you. So next I take some black on a really small paintbrush, and My stencils from Dollar Tree have these gaps in the letters, and I don't particularly like that. So if you like it, you can keep it. Again, it's your preference, but my preference was that I didn't like the gaps, so I just filled them in. I also just made kind of like a little design on the letters. I thought that it would give a really cool effect. So next we are going to assemble our tree. So I just take the main stem, pretty much the middle piece that everything's going to be connected on, and I lay that down. I then take my star, and again with a combination of E6000 and hot glue, I glue that down. Now I use a combination because E6000 is going to last and the hot glue is going to hold it immediately. So that's why I like to use that combination. I don't always use it, but sometimes with wood, hot glue doesn't stick very well. So that's why I'm using it on this project, because I want this to last for years to come. So I just glue down the top piece with the same combination, and then I lay out the rest just so that way I can see where I want them all to lay. So I just continue and I glue them all down. You could space these out more, you could put them closer together, you could add more layers and put a different saying. It's up to you. So I know I keep saying that, but again, it's always up to you. I then take 2 more Jenga blocks and I just use hot glue to glue them together. And then I'm going to take some E6000 and hot glue again and glue it down to the base. I don't put it directly in the middle. I put it a little bit like behind the middle, if that makes sense, because next we're going to glue down our tree itself. And so I just glue it down. I hold it in place for a minute until the hot glue dries. I then go in with some white Waverly chalk paint again, and I just paint that base, the Jenga blocks. This is just going to ensure that your tree stands up really nicely and straight. And then I go ahead with some picks, Dollar Tree Christmas picks, and I just take off the berries and the greenery, and I just kind of figure out where I want them on the base, just to give it a little bit more decoration and make it look more finished. And I just go in with some hot glue to glue that down. So I just continue adding more pieces to get it the way I want it. I also snipped off a pine cone because I'm going to end up putting the pine cone in the middle. And that is it, you guys. It is that quick and easy to make such a high-end looking Christmas decoration, and I am so in love with the way this turned out. Let me know in the comments down below what you think and which one you like, if you like the tree or the star better. So after my star had dried, I don't know why I picked up the scissors. I knew that I was going to use a knife. Has that ever happened to you? But anyway, I just go ahead and flip it over and I press down on my star and I just cut right along the edge, and it gives you a really nice clean cut. I then take these 3 metal signs from Dollar Tree. I take out the Believe, and with these metal signs, you guys, you have to be careful because when you hot glue it, it gets hot and the glue dries really quickly. So make sure you're being careful and you work quick. So I just glue that down with a bit of hot glue. And for this one, I wanted it to be just kind of plain. I didn't want it to be too over the top. So I just go in with some burlap and I fold it over 3 times, however big of a bow you want. You just fold it over 3 times. Then you take another piece that's a bit longer on each end and a piece of twine, and you just flip it over tie it. I always make sure in the front that it's even before I make it tight. If it's not even, I adjust it and then I flip it back over, tie it in a double knot, and then snip the ends off. This is wired ribbon, so I just fluff it up. I get it the way I want it, and then I test it on my sign to make sure that I like the size, and I then go ahead and snip the ends to make it look more finished and professional. I like the way it looks when you cut the ends like that. And then I just fluff it up again, because when you're playing with these bows, they kind of get flattened out. And then I just take hot glue, a nice dab on the back, and I glue that down, not on the very top of my star, kind of in the middle. I then take a drill bit, and I took my dowel rod and measured with my drill bit, and I just made a hole. If you guys don't have a drill bit, I would just trace your dowel and then take a knife and cut your hole out. So I stick my dowel in, and then I go from the bottom and I hot glue my dowel in. I did not want hot glue to be shown on the top, that's why I glued it from the bottom. Next, I just put a line of hot glue down the star right in the middle where I know the dowel's going to go. I flip it around while the glue is still drying, and I position it the way I want it. I then just go in with some reinforcement glue in the back, and that one is done as well. I am so in love with these, you guys. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know if you're new. Introduce yourself. I would love to hear from you. And if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, make sure you do that. I would love to see your recreations. Make sure you tag me. I also share different things like personal stuff, you know, mini Dollar Tree hauls. So definitely go check me out over there. Again, the link's in the description. And until next time, guys, bye.
Got me up all night, putting things on the side. What do you have in mind? She's awake all the time. What are you